A year ago, I was on YouTube documenting the start of my business. I was building an online blog that I wanted to use to generate passive income, as well as starting to do marketing consulting for startups. So I'm happy to tell you that things have gone well with my business. My best month, I made $67,000 in a single month. I still kind of pinch myself when I think about it because that's a lot of money. And we're still early in the business, right? I just crossed over a year now. Back then, it was only month 10 or month 11. And so here are some things that I just wanted to share with the channel about maybe what I would have done differently or wish I had done differently in the past. So that if you're thinking, hey, I want to be a freelancer, I want to be a consultant, I want to build something online and start earning income, that you can use my experience to leverage and do better than me. So here are the things that really were valuable to me in the last year. The first was the realization that quitting my job was the least risky thing I have done. Waiting around for another promotion or another raise wasn't the right course for me. I was at a point in time where I was ready to move on, where I was ready to start building something. But that didn't just come overnight. I had worked many, many years in marketing agencies and startups, developing skills that eventually I realized I could sell. More importantly, I had developed a network of people around me that were incredibly smart, incredibly talented, that were willing to attach my name to theirs and go to bat for me. It leads me into something that I learned early on in this business, which is everything good comes through my network. So I want to belabor the point. If you're an employee at a company and you're fed up and you're ready to move on, just realize that the skills, the attitude, the ability that you showcase now for everybody around you is going to be the same skills, attitude, and ability that people remember you by, and how that might affect your business endeavors in the future. I have not paid for a lead. I've not run an ad for my consulting business. I get warm introductions, and those are the best types of introductions. There's really no selling from my end. It's more of a partnership. Being able to handpick your clients from a consulting standpoint is very advantageous. I actually wanted to show you all of my earnings for the year and how things dramatically ramped up. These are my consulting numbers. I'm going to show you what my blog income looks like as well, if you just hang on for a second. But the big takeaway I have for myself, if I was to kind of roll back time, is to work really hard at a company, building a skill that I was interested in, build a network, and then venture off on my own, right? Because I'm at the point now where I'm never going to have a boss again. There's no way that I'm going to go back into the workforce because I enjoy too much being able to work with the clients I want to work with, on the projects that I want to work with, set the rate that I feel I'm valued at, be able to create and ideate. Those have opened up a lot of different ways to think about life. And I'm just exploring those now, right? I'm only a year into the business. There's 30 more years left in my career, give or take. And so what are the great things that I'm going to be doing in 5 years versus just now? With that, I think I've felt the responsibility to try and become more of a connector, because my water cooler chat doesn't exist in the corporate office anymore. I have to go out and meet new people and get introductions and have interesting conversations. And when those things happen, I love putting people together. New job opportunities, new projects, new ideas. Hey, you should talk to this person. Hey, they're really smart. Why don't you just have a conversation? And so all I'd say is try and be a connector. I think it's a superpower that I've only just started really developing. But there's a lot of years left in my career, like I mentioned, and you just never know who's going to be where or how they could, impact your life. So be kind and try and be a good connector. So another really big lesson that I learned this year was I didn't need to build anything revolutionary. Right? I didn't need to have the next social network. Didn't need to build the next greatest SaaS app. I had a skill that I could sell. And maybe I just didn't consider freelancing or consulting, didn't consider those real businesses. But that was on me, and that was not the right way to think about the world. And so I really recommend this lifestyle if you do have a really good skill that you can go out there and market, right? If people are in market for whatever you do, you could sell it to other businesses. Heck, you could even turn it into an agency or a firm. It's not what I want to build with my company. I want to do it solo and I want to be a marketer rather than a CEO, but that's not for everyone either. Sometimes just doing what you do well and selling it can be a great business venture. Back to what a lot of the Maddie Ads videos were about a year ago. If you go back in the library, there's probably a good 30 of them that are focused on my website called thegiftyak.com. So that was my first affiliate website that I had a really good feeling would be something that I could grow into passive income. And I'm just going to show you what the revenue looks like. So it took some elbow grease. We started off slow. This doesn't even show you the traffic or how many articles I wrote, but the reality was that this was a side project for me, right? Consulting took up the vast majority of my time most of last year, and I was still able to reach $6,000 in a month. And so I wanted to talk through a couple of the lessons that I learned just very quickly about building an online business. Creating anything for me was liberating. I had been in the workplace environment doing the same type of work for clients over and over and over again, where I really hadn't exercised the creative side of my brain outside of the core marketing things that I had to do for the clients. And so when I took a step back and I said, okay, let me understand this whole process of building a website, developing an SEO plan, developing a content marketing strategy, putting all those pieces together and going to market, and then not really seeing anything happen. And then, okay, a little bit happened. And then, okay, we have momentum. Right now, many websites get to $2,000 in revenue in 6 months. So the great feeling once things started taking off, and I could look back and I say, okay, these are the things that worked. These are the things that didn't. Now, how could I do better on this project or consider new projects? And I have considered new projects. I have a whole graveyard full of dead ones. Throughout the summer and early fall, I was spinning up new ideas left and right. And you know what? It wasn't the greatest use of my time from a monetary standpoint. But then again, neither was the blog, right? Even the blog making $6,000 a month for me is less than I'll make consulting. And so there's trade-offs. And part of the trade-off for me was all of this stuff is a great learning experience. It's a great testing bed. I would encourage anybody out there who's trying to start a business online just to try. Set up the foundation, start building. The results aren't going to come overnight. It's just not going to happen. Doesn't matter how many online courses you buy, how much money you spend to marketing gurus. It's not going to happen. The only trick, and there is a trick to fast forwarding this process, is to spend money. If you want to buy a website, if you want to buy an online tool, if you want to buy an online business, that's the hack. But you still got to pay it off, right? You still got to make money. At the end of the day, it's elbow grease. It's hard work. It's some late nights. It's learning new things and trying, and a lot of Googling, funny enough, a lot of Googling. Now, if you're sitting there scratching your head and saying, well, I don't even know how to start, I got the perfect resource for you. You can click any of my early videos and just watch me start. I literally started from the ideation phase, built my website, built the SEO strategy, started writing content, started hiring writers. And a year later, I've been featured in Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Bankrate, Zapier, LegalZoom. The list goes on. The Gift Yak had 50,000 visitors last month to the website. It made $6,200. I just launched my other website, maddieads.com, for my consulting business, which, hey, while you're at it, why don't you take a look? But there's a lot of content that I'm going to be putting out there, and there's a lot of other really great free content on YouTube and elsewhere. So what are the goals that I have for 2022? Well, this is year 2 of the business. Like I said, I still got a good 30 years left in me. We're still really early days on Maddie Ads. I do want to build out the content on my website a little bit more. So maddieads.com, as I mentioned. I've also been noodling on the idea of starting an e-commerce business. Again, I've never done that, right? It sounds fun, setting up a Shopify, building out a brand, picking a product, marketing that product. Like, that sounds right up my alley. I'm not concerned about spending some money. Even if it doesn't work out, like, I'm totally fine just spending money to learn. And the other piece to that is potentially rolling that into YouTube. It's been a while since I've been on my YouTube channel. I actually want to have a focus on not only my blog content, but also to have some marketing content on YouTube for you and other readers and listeners to engage in and hopefully start building their own businesses or scaling what they already have. And the final goal I have this year is around giving back. I think that was one of the big eye openers I had when I started making more money closer to the summer. Was I didn't want to just do this and not help in areas. And the best way and best course of action I could think of was around giving my marketing ability to nonprofits. And so I've been doing that. I want to do it more. I actually want to leverage that into starting my own local nonprofit in the Bay Area. I have some, as you could guess, marketing ideas around what I could do to help some disadvantaged youth. And so maybe you'll be hearing more about that in 2022. It's going to be a tough lift. It's going to take time, but I do want to make sure that I'm dedicating that time, because the opportunities, the money, that stuff's always going to be there. But making a bigger impact outside of myself and outside of my own family is something that I really want to lean into this year. Stick with me. I promise you I have more YouTube content coming out this year. And if you want to catch one of my early videos about building a business, stick around. Here they are.